Good morning. It's Fred with Utah Realty Advisors. A week or so ago, we posted about a book and a CE class that I had taken, sponsored by Al Bingham, and the book entitled The Road to 850. We said we were going to discuss a little bit more about that in our Friday News Roundup features. And I'd like to start that process by talking about the credit score and the basics of the credit score. Again, this information is found in Al Bingham's book, found on Amazon, and I suggest strongly you go get a copy of that book. Let's talk a little bit about the basics. First off, with regards to your credit score, there's a couple of key elements that you may be aware of, but just to refresh our memory, you have providers of your credit. Providers obviously are mortgage lenders, they would be car loans, things like that. Utility companies are also a provider. Utility companies more and more are contributing to your credit score by giving you a history of payments and that such. Also, obviously, you have collection accounts. Those are another provider, another form of provider. If you've let an account go to delinquency, it goes to collections, and of course the collections companies report that to the credit score as well. If that's not taken care of, the next group of providers obviously is the court systems, either a bankruptcy court, judgments, or in some cases a tax lien. If it's a state or government entity that files a tax lien, obviously that's reported as well. All of these providers, the information is collected by credit reporting agencies, and there are three major, most common credit reporting agencies: Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. And of course, they collect the information. It's important to note, and we'll talk more about this in a future segment, each of these credit reporting agencies uses a different criteria for the way they give you a credit score, which is why if you look at a combined credit score from these three agencies, you might see a difference in your score, and you wonder why is there a difference? Well, the reason there's a difference is because they each use different criteria in their method of scoring. Then, of course, you have the FICO, Fair Isaacs Company, which is produces the report. Back that up just a second. So FICO produces a report from the three credit reporting agencies or credit agencies, and they produce a report called the FICO or FICO score that is used most commonly by lenders and other creditors in making a judgment about whether they will extend credit to you. It's also important to note, and again, we'll talk about this in detail in a future segment, that FICO is a publicly traded company for profit. They are not a .org, they're not a government agency. They are in business to sell their reports to the credit users. And of course, the end item users are the lenders and the credit unions and the banks that lend you money for cars, auto loans. It's also insurance, your health insurance, homeowners insurance, other varieties of insurance you may have. They use a FICO score in extending a decision or making a decision to extend credit to you. Utility companies use the FICO score. Employers may also pull your credit score. And of course, others, doctors, lawyers, perhaps hospitals and other folks in your life, they are going to look at your credit report and make decisions about doing business with you, whether you get hired or whether you get a credit or a loan. And so the credit report is really part of our lives, whether we choose to play in it or not, or be aware of it. And I think it's very important that we are very knowledgeable about the credit report and how it affects our life. I have found recently through some programs I'm doing that to think of things in the form of a game sometimes makes it easier to discuss some difficult situations. And so I would submit that perhaps as you figure out how to get your credit score up and play the game, that it might be a good idea to think of it in those terms. That this is a bit of a game. It's not really. It's actually pretty dang serious, because what we're talking about is money and costs and opportunities, which we're going to go into detail in the next couple of our segments. So hopefully you find this information useful. I want to thank you very much for taking the time to look at it. Thank you for the introductions to those people you care about and for the trust you place in me in real estate. If there's any questions, please feel free to give me a call or send me a text, send me an email, or just put a note up on Facebook. Again, appreciate all your time and taking time you take to look at this video, and I hope you all have a good day. Thanks so much.